Hello, and welcome to what I guess is a devlog for Nach, at least Nach and Godot. One of a couple, I hope. Yeah, I'm making Nach and Godot. It's pretty much more primitive, if anyone is still around, since I started since I last posted a video of Nach at least a year or more ago. This definitely looks a lot more primitive than that, since there isn't much of anything here at the moment. But a lot of things have happened since then, one of them being that Blender decided to completely remove the game engine. And you got an awesome new render engine in Eevee, but then it removed the game engine. And I also decided to use Godot because, well, I didn't do any programming in the BGE, and logic bricks were starting to get rather restricting. But yeah, let's see what I've managed to do so far. Let's just play this scene. Following some tutorials, I've managed to make Nach here run around and jump. The running around and the camera following the player comes from the tutorials of JNM on YouTube. I really wish he would continue making Godot tutorials, because this one for making a character run around was really helpful. It also helped me kind of, slightly, a little bit understand how GDScript works. And using that understanding and also just scrounging the internet a bit for what is possible with GDScript, I managed to make the character jump and have a specific jump and also a fall animation that only plays when he's in the air. Alright, well, now I'm stuck in the bottomless pit. There's no way out of here. Yeah. But unfortunately, this is just everything I've managed to do right now. The coins aren't there yet. There are absolutely no enemies of any kind. Oh, excuse me if you're hearing howling in the background. I live on the 7th floor of a tall building, so having the occasional howling noises in the background as the wind passes is a little inevitable. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, following J&M's tutorials, I've managed to get animations with blending, and I've managed to get some stuff myself, like jumping. But a lot is still missing, like there's no UI, there's no health, there are no attack combos, all of which I still need to learn how to do. All of it is largely just learning how to program to begin with. I've never done programming of any kind, so this is getting a little difficult as I try to both design the game and program the game. Although learning programming is pretty interesting, it gets a little frustrating sometimes, as it somehow feels like it's getting in the way of me just creating things for the game. It would help a lot if I had someone who could program in GDScript and help me out with this project, but everyone always seems to know someone who programs, but I seem to be able to talk to a programmer directly and see if they're willing to help. But I do have some dude from Australia who is making music for me. Music which you're probably hearing in the background right now, which is the main theme for Nach that he created. I couldn't thank him enough for that. That's one thing that I don't have to worry about, is music. So yeah, he's pretty good at capturing what the idea of what Nach is supposed to be in this platformer-esque thing. But yeah. Anyway, Nach himself, you notice that he's kind of white. He does have like shadows and stuff and an outline, but he doesn't have textures. And that has to do with let me just open up Nach here in a separate window. It has to do with materials, really. Earlier, like a couple of weeks ago, I think, I made I showed off the idle animation in a YouTube video, and he had all his textures on him. That was when I got him exported in GLTF format, and then it exported all the materials along with him, so I could just apply the textures that I created for Nach, and it looked alright. Issue is, now that I managed to make Better Collada Exporter work, or at least that the person who developed Better Collada Exporter made it work in the newest version of Blender, it seems to only export with the one material. Now the thing is that the body has a texture, the backpack has a completely separate texture, and then the scarf has a separate texture on its own too. I did this because there will be more of Nach's species in the game, in the early part of the game, you know, as you because you should start like in the village of Nach's people, so that I have, in that way I have like a base mesh, and I don't have to like I can just add like clothing to them, and I don't have to add all the clothing textures and such in the same texture material as the body, so that gives me freedom to make like a bunch of different things, a bunch of different characters with all their own clothing and different looks. But it would require me to make more than one material, yet for some reason I can't make other materials. I mean, all of them are UV unwrapped with their own UV coordinates, but I only seem to be able to apply a material to the entire character, including all the other little separate bits that should have their own UV mats. It wasn't like that when I imported with GLTF, because then it had like the three materials that Nach had here on the side. Yet I can't seem to find a way to add a new material, which is a little frustrating, but okay. For the moment, until I solve this situation, he'll remain textureless. Another small issue that I'm having, which is more based on my lack of understanding of programming, which I'll show you here, is alright, so let me just quickly start it up. So he can run, and he can jump, but he just sort of stiffly goes from jumping immediately back to running, which, I mean, I guess it could work, but it doesn't look great, honestly. So in Blender I created a bunch of in-between animations that would play if he jumped and landed on the floor. And they're successfully imported into the game, which I just have to get to go to the animation player and show you. Oh no, the animation tree. There we go. Yeah. Let me just expand that a little bit so you can actually see. Like, yeah. For example, I got them all attached to one-shot things. This means that the animation will only play once and not loop, like say the idle animation or the jump animation, not the jump animation, the fall animation and such like. And the jump animation is a one shot, it plays out, and then once the animation is played out, it will go back to whatever, you know, was happening before. I also have a few other animations, two others, which are meant to play when he lands on the floor. Like this one is landing on the floor while standing still. This one, as you see, goes a little bit through his knees after the drop and resumes with his normal stuff. And this one, the rolling, he should do that when he's dropping on the floor while moving, after, you know, a jump or walking off a ledge. But I can't seem to figure out how to make it work. Here's the script, the code, all the stuff, of which some things are like this. Here's from J&M's tutorial. I understand what's going on here for the most part. It looks to me like a whole bunch of math problems, basically. This is a artifact of following on one of J&M's tutorial, which is animations without blending, which got replaced with animations with blending over here. This is how I managed to get the fall animation done when he's not touching the floor. I'm sure there is a better way of doing it than simply setting the blend amount to 1 and then setting blend amount to 0 if the thing is true or false. But yeah, here's my attempt at trying to get the in-between animation to work, which didn't. This is actually, I was looking for ways to do it on the internet, and I got this thing. I found this thing with sprite animation, where a person wanted to stop an animation the moment he touched a floor. But I tried salvaging that, but it didn't work. Also, funny thing is, for the longest time, I did not know how to make if something true. I spent hours looking for that, you know, because for me it seemed just to make sense if I could make if grounded equals true or if grounded equals false, for example. But then it turned out, in order for that to make that work, for whatever reason, you have to place the equal symbol twice. Well, now I know. So, yay, this works. But yeah, I need to find out how to make those in-between animations. And if you are watching this and you know something about how to do that, then please freaking help me. Because yeah, it would be super helpful if I knew some of those things. The character code does not contain any health or pickup counts or anything like that yet. If you look in the previous videos that I made when I was working in the Blender game engine, you'll know that there are these floating blue coins. If Nach picks up 100 of those floating blue coins, he gets a 1-up, like an extra life point that stays permanently throughout the game, kind of like more like a health upgrade. It'll stay there even if Nach is hurt. If he picks up like a healing fruit, that extra life point will heal back. And each level was supposed to have 100 coins only that you could have to hunt down. It would persistently the game would have to persistently remember how many coins you picked up per level, so that the coins don't just all respawn when you go back to level. You actually have to look for them. And if every time you collect 100 coins, you get an extra health point, which will make things easier for you as you just have more health to work with. that's the general idea anyway. And I had it kind of working in the Blender game engine because I had like this save script that saved it. It was janky, but I still need to figure out how the hell to do that in Godot. But yeah, it's not that health and those coins and stuff are not yet part of this script, and I don't think I should make it part of the script. I think I should put it in a separate script, like add an empty or something to the character which controls stuff like that. But that's just me, you know, guessing. Oh yeah, and then I have another little weird issue. For those who've been around since I was working on Nach in the Blender game engine, you'd know that the scarf had like this what was it called? Ragdoll deal. Yeah, so that it would flail around, you know, if the character would walk around. Let me just play this. If the character would walk around, the scarf would kind of like trail behind it. It would have physics to it, ragdoll physics to it, so that it would jump and it would go up and down, left and right, like it's a little red banner that constantly trails behind him. Okay, so the scarf has rigging, it has bones. I've not applied any animations to the bones, so they're like completely free of animations. I just don't know how to make them ragdoll in Godot. Completely clueless about that. I've seen one or two videos about making ragdolls in Godot, but they seem to be not very helpful. Again, if you know anything about that, then please leave a comment below and help me out. But yeah, that's everything. This is pretty much everything there is of Nach so far. The test environment and him running and jumping. Hopefully I figure out how to do all the other things like rudimentary enemy AI and pathfinding and all that jazz, but it looks like it's going to be quite a mountain to climb on, since I have to worry about both designing and programming the game, while at the same time also having to worry about my job and art commissions. But the goal is to this year have at least some form of playable pre-alpha test demo thing ready for someone to toy around with, as a proof of concept to show that some of the basics work. If I get around to it. Maybe I'll get lucky and have something more done than that. Or maybe someone will get interest and help me out. Either way, I hope you had fun looking at the small amount of progress I made on Nach in the Godot engine, and I hope that there will be more videos to come like this, you know, to show off the things I've managed to do. But yeah, thanks for watching.